Oh.
Welcome to Infinity and Beyond, a podcast that takes a look back at the works of Pixar animation before moving onward to their newest films. We say goodbye to Earth today as we follow some robot friends across the galaxy to save humanity. It's WALL-E.
I was hoping you would do that, or someone
That was
would.
a good impression.
I couldn't not do it.
Well then, just who the gosh darn heck are we?
Great question. I'm Daniel Hudson.
I'm Jaron Gravely.
And I'm Nora Jones, who started as a guest, but this is becoming a reoccurring thing, which I'm fine with. Like, this is great.
You're number 3 now.
Yes!
We're no longer the iconic Pixar duo. We're the trio.
Yeah.
Yes, I have forced my way into the Pixar cult.
The cult of the lamp.
Yes!
That actually would be the name for the Pixar cult.
Yeah.
The cult of the lamp.
I love how every week we come up with new names for our thing.
Yeah. Wait, what did we do last week? Because I was like re-listening to one of them, and I realized we never said a name for it.
We never said. Let's say we're the last week. We were the.
It would be the Thumb Killers or like
The Rat
Thumb
Pack.
Murderers. Yeah, the Rat Pack. Something like that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Ratatouille this time around.
No, we're not.
Okay. I feel like I should give a disclaimer for my views on this movie.
Oh dear.
So listen, until maybe 2 hours ago, I did not really like WALL-E that much because as a small child, I didn't get it and I found it boring. And I found out apparently I only had like half the disc, but my little child brain didn't remember that, but my mom informed me of that like 30 minutes ago. So I was like, oh. But
Wait, you what?
I only had like half the disc as a child because the other half didn't work, so I was confused and didn't like the movie. So, but the parts I remembered, because she said I could buy you full disc, but I was like, nah, and I don't like it. So the parts I remembered, I was like, it was kind of boring and dragging. And then I watched it again, and I still have some views that are like, but I really, really liked it. So I'm more on the I really like this movie side, but I have notes. But
She has
how I
notes,
feel.
people.
I'm not the only one for once.
Yeah, I have issues, but I still liked the movie. It's kind of the same with Cars. I love Cars. I actually watched it the other night again, but I have issues. So yeah.
We are so close to the Cars 2 phenomenon extravaganza. I told you the other day to tell Gideon to get ready.
Yeah, I mentioned it to him. Actually,
It's our crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
So me going into WALL-E, I've always liked this film. It might be just because I was a little bit older than you, Nora, when it came out, so I had a bit more of an attention span. I've heard a lot of like little kids really did not like WALL-E when it came out. Mostly because there's just no dialogue for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was one of those.
To be honest, though, that first 30 minutes is like my favorite.
Yeah, I have a new appreciation for it. I'll get to that later. Continue.
Jaron, you were talking about how like last week that Ratatouille was kind of a Miyazaki movie. This, especially the first 30 minutes, it honestly feels like Nausicaa mixed with Castle in the Sky.
I see. That's a good observation.
Yeah, this one, like it never gets bad in my opinion, but I don't think it ever quite reaches the heights of that first half hour.
Not unlike another movie we're going to talk about next week.
Ooh.
Oh, hello.
Well, what about you, Jaron? Give us your WALL-E quick take.
Well, I was 12 when this came out. and I thought it was quite good. In fact, for a few years, it maintained its position as one of my favorite Pixar movies. I think part of me just wanted to. So this is total honest transparency time. When I was like an early teenager, I wanted to be seen as like this artistic, knowledgeable person.
I mean, I still see you as that, so.
Okay, cool. I guess 15-year-old Jared wouldn't be not proud of 23-year-old Jared. Yay! Anyway, so I maintain the position that this is like one of my favorites because of its lack of dialogues. I thought that was really artsy.
It is artsy.
You guys wouldn't have liked me back then.
I would have loved you.
Okay. But anyway, I do like this movie still. I think it kind of falls off in some parts, but the highs of this movie are so high, they are among the highest of Pixar.
Very true. For me, I don't think it ever dips that much. It's just a lot of the scenes in space, they're good, but it's just they're preceded by something so much better, so they look bad in comparison.
That's fair. That's a good take.
It's kind of like the Canto Bight stuff in Last Jedi. Like, it's not bad by any stretch, but
yeah,
like when you compare it to everything else in that movie, it looks a lot worse.
Yeah. There's only one way to get money in this business.
Yes. I have a lot to say about the animation because I was going into this thinking, okay, well, I know this animation is going to be fantastic, which it was, and probably the number one thing I like about this movie, but it actually wasn't. The character development was, and there were parts in the animation that lacked for me. Because there was those beautiful moments like the fire extinguisher in space. That was gorgeous.
That was literally what I was.
And like the whole intro, like that looks like apocalypse Earth. Like it's so good. But then there's moments where you can see like 2D animation in the background, especially when it's white on white. Or if it's Eva and Wally centered and there's things moving around them, there's something off that's not quite balanced, and it's very noticeable if you're looking for it. And if you compare it to some of those other scenes, it's quite less than. It's just like they set themselves so high in other scenes that when it gets back down to their limits of animation, you can tell.
Yeah, it may not even be an animation thing so much as a compositing thing.
Yeah, it's just, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was beautiful to look at. It's just there were definitely, I like it when the whole movie is the same quality of animation and there's really one tone. Because really in the beginning I was looking at that rustic, earthy, dark, all combined figures tone. And when it gets into space, I like the contrast, but it's not the same like animation. There's things that don't blend as well.
Yeah, I see.
It is really impressive that this movie, like, for that first stretch, has a color palette that's pretty much just brown.
Yeah.
So that was beautiful.
Excuse me.
Like I usually don't like brown as an environmental color or as like a film palette in general.
Unless it's like specifically set in autumn.
Well, even then you get a bunch of other colors in there, the gold, the leaves and stuff. But like this film, like pretty much exclusively used brown and brown shaded stuff for most of that first act, and then it was beautiful the entire time.
Yeah.
The first 30 minutes, and well, other than some of like the montages in space, were my favorite moments of animation in the film.
Yeah.
Because it was all solid unity and it expressed a mood and like it captured everything that had happened on Earth and it was yummy.
I actually rewatched the first 30 minutes like just now.
Yeah.
Because I do love it so much. And I think that was a big part of me bumping up its ranking this time around. Okay, it's currently in my top 4, just based on everything we've rewatched so far.
Oh, okay.
And
I actually made a list of my favorite Pixar movies, but that's irrelevant because you said top 4. But continue.
Like I'm re-ranking them now that we're like going through everything.
Yeah, same.
And out of the first 8, or the first 9, it's in the top 4.
I don't know where it is on mine because I only have the top 5 ranked. I just know it's still lower for me, but honestly, I like any Pixar movie pretty much. Like, even if I say I don't like it, that's really in comparison to others because, let's be honest, I love all of them. So, just clarifying that.
I only particularly kept up with my top as we kept going through.
Yeah. I'm keeping them in track because I know at the end we did want to like make a best and worst list or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll find a place for it to live soon.
Yeah, my memory of this movie was it really does drop off once they get into space, and the drop was not as noticeable this time around. I think it was that Bugs Life effect where I remember not liking it as much, and then when we actually rewatched, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's my problems weren't as big."
You see, when they went to space, that's when I thought it picked up. But I think a lot of that is based off from when my first viewings of it as a kid was, because that's when I started to get it more because the dialogue came in. Because, like, I don't know what, I think on my disc where it was cut off, it was, like, towards the end. But I specifically remember the squishy captain. And I remember liking all that stuff, and that was when I liked the movie. And it was because I didn't get it then. Now, you see, I have an appreciation for the dialogue and the animation in the beginning, but I like it when you get on the ship because I like the connections you see that happen to humanity after Earth went to decay and how it's like the worst possible outcome. I like the mental picture of it, I guess.
Yeah. So it's a different view of the future than like say Norman Reedus carrying around a baby and a bunch of boxes, dropping things off.
It gives me a very like Apocalypse Giver vibe, but for children. This was I was watching it and I had forgotten everything in it. I was like, this is such a mature movie. Like, this topic. And one thing that bothers me, it's such a big topic, but it has kind of such a simple plot.
Yeah.
Which sort of bothers me. Just because,
well, yeah.
But I get it's for kids, so that's why.
Yeah, it's a MacGuffin movie, so I think we should talk about, like, actually get into that plot and do a little summary.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Nora, do you want to do it this time since you watched the full movie, the most recent?
Yeah, I went last time, so.
Okay. This is scary. I don't know if I'll be great at this, but
we believe in you.
Okay. Y'all please step in and correct me if I say something wrong. Okay, we enter in on Earth. It is dark and brown and has reached some sort of end. There is skyscrapers of trash and destruction everywhere. The Earth is polluted and no one is able to live on it except for our protagonist, the wondrous and charismatic Wally, who can only say Wally for 90% of the movie. He collects trash and makes blocks of it, and it seems he has made these skyscrapers. However, because apparently robots have emotions in this world, which is something I'd like to talk about later that
they have
I have a problem with, he makes connections to this junk or things that was left over by the human race, and he makes his own little home that's adorable, full of lights and souvenirs and keepsakes that he finds meaning in. You find out all Wally wants is a connection with another person via his music tapes and him watching a romance scene through a leftover old movie where they're holding hands and he holds his adorable little robot claws together.
Oh, my heart.
I want to cry. Anyway, there's also this adorable cockroach sidekick, which is probably the best character in the whole film. you see his daily process and how his life on Earth is, and also you see that other Wallies have stopped functioning, which I didn't fully understand why, but they have, and he's alone, and it's depressing. One day, this red dot escalates down on the bare surface of Earth. Wally is confused and follows it like a confused, lonely robot boy does.
Well,
also, we're assuming he's a boy. Sorry, I assumed his gender. He's a robot. It's they. I don't know. Okay, so he follows the red light, and they get there with his little cockroach friend, and a huge ship comes from the sky. This is exciting and new. It lands. All of a sudden, this beautiful, sleek robot of a cylinderish teardrop upside down shape named Eva approaches with beautiful little blue eyes. Good animation, by the way. And she searches the premises and is looking for something and causes mass destruction if she hears any noise. I feel like I'm doing this too slow, so I'm going to speed it up. She's shooting everything. Wally sees her. Wally's like, Wally. She's like, Eva. Because they finally meet because she's not shooting him. They start to form a bond. He takes her to his little home, shows her some stuff and everything that he has. She's confused by it, and everything she touched, she low-key wrecks. And
it's like me with my third wife.
Okay. And Wally's like, oh, okay. And he tries to show her the love film that he watches because he wants to hold her hand. I want to hold your hand. Anyway, that's really depressing because she's like, no. And then, oh, I forgot a really important part. Okay, back up like 15 minutes ago. Wally found a plant. This plant's important. It's literally the whole film. It was in the ground, and
wow,
plants
kid.
weren't supposed to be happening. He scooped it up and put it inside his little robot body. Anyway, fast back forward to Eva destroying everything in his house accidentally. So, there's the plant. He shows it. He's like, hey, look at this. It's a plant. He doesn't really say any of this because they can't talk, but you get it. Hey, look at this. There's a plant. She goes, be blue, 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 because that's literally what she's looking for. And then she goes mass crazy, grabs the plant, puts it in her body, and like starts bleeping for the ship to come, like beep, beep, beep. Wally doesn't get that. So he watches her for days to take care of her little robot body, which is adorable relationship goals, even though they're not a relationship yet. Sorry, spoiler alert. And eventually the ship comes to retrieve her. Wally tells the little cockroach to stay because that's dangerous, which I found very important because he could get hurt, and we love that cockroach. They go on the ship, and then they're there, and then you see the human fat blob Pillsbury Boy Society that has become human beings.
We live in one.
Because the human beings don't have to care for anything because they evacuated Earth, and the robots that have emotions, it still confuses me, care for them, and they just sit in chairs and they eat all day and they live on these little screens, which is a scary prediction of the future and rather intense for a kid's film, but we will talk about that later. And Wally sneaks in. He gets cleaned off by the second best character in the film, Mimo, the little roller thing that cleans him. He's hilarious. Anyway, that scene's great. There's this whole montage of running to catch up with Eva, which is a little bit too extra. I mean, just wrap it up. You know they're going to be fine. Get to the captain. Okay. So they get to the captain because there's a fat captain that doesn't really do that much, but he has this little guy called Otto that really runs the plane because he's the robot that tells the captain what to do because captain doesn't know what he's doing because he's a fat Pillsbury boy, but he's adorable. Anyway, we get to him. And then, this is a really complicated, simple plot. Anyway, they get to them and they're like, oh, look, it's a plant. Oh, no, the plant's not there. Confusion. And so he's like, okay, this Eva's jacked up. Send her away. We don't need to go to Earth because what happened was he heard there was a plant. He was like, what does that mean? Oh, we need to go to Earth. They listened to this video of a former human president saying they need to go back to Earth if they find a plant. But then they find out, oh no, there's no plant. So they send her away. They send Wally away. And then I get confused because it all gets very similar. Does he find Wally finds the plant? How does Wally find the plant? Wally finds the plant.
So
no, Wally gets Eva. They get together, but Wally gets the plant back.
Okay, your understanding's breaking down.
Yeah. Somehow, someone gets a plant back. Then there's a whole thing with a fire extinguisher.
So what happens is they're in the robot, caretaking place. Wally breaks them out, and they get designated as rogue robots, which really makes Eve mad.
There we go.
So she takes them to an escape pod to send them home so she can fix this mess. But then they realize the plant is being sent on the escape pod by somebody else.
Yes.
So Wally manages to get it, avoids being blown up, and that's when the whole fire hydrant dance happens.
Yes, I was thinking that happened afterward. My bad. And do you want me to keep going from there? I might mess up again because part of the poems is it all gets very similar towards the end. You're like, okay, just save the earth by now. Well, that's my opinion anyway. But then there's like human connections. Like some of the humans realize that they're fat blobs and that there's more to life than sitting there because Wally interfered with their daily lives, and they're floating around in space, him and Eva, because they got the plant, but then they get back on the ship and they're like, okay, we need to get the plant to, what's the room they're supposed to get it to? It's like the designated something.
It's the Lido deck.
The Lido deck. I don't know why it's called that, but they have
That's
to
like a thing on a ship, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Like a cruise ship.
They have to go to the Lido deck to retrieve the plant. And then, is this when you find out Otto's a crazy supervillain?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, because the captain is like a genuinely caring person, and he's been like researching Earth and finds out, whoa, Earth is dope. What are we doing? And he's asking the computer all these questions. And so they get the plant to him, correct? Yes. Yeah. They get the plant to him. And he's like, great, we can go back to Earth. And then Otto is like, no. And you're like, whoa now, calm down, Otto. And then he explains that his previous orders were to never return to Earth because then he pulls up this message from the previous Earth president that Earth is too unsustainable to live in. Then the captain's like, well, that was 700 years ago. It's obviously sustainable to live in because there's a plant. Otto doesn't listen. Otto goes rogue, not Wally and Eva. Otto, he's a jerk. And he makes he locks the captain in his room, and he throws away the plant along with his little cyberborg man that has a little red light on his head. I don't know his name, but his little minion person. And they throw Wally down the dumpster chute with the plant, and they throw Eva down there, and you're like, oh no. And then there's this whole scene with the dumpster chute where it's dangerous again, but then Eva saves him. And then the cleaning guy comes back. That's the second best character in the film. And they all bond together. And then they go back onto the deck because the captain sends a message telling them that he's escaped because the captain's like being cool and fighting and saying, hey, get the plant here. Otto's probably going to shut me off. And like the thing shuts off because Otto shut him off. And so then they get in there, and then the ship's going crazy because the captain and Otto are fighting. The whole ship's tipping, and all the fat people are rolling, and then it makes the ship tip worse because they're fat. And
It's a big step, Nora.
I'm sorry. They're adorable fat people, though. Like, I love them. I just want to squish them all. Anyway. So they get in there, and Wally's trying to put the plant in the thing that'll like make it automatically send the ship to Earth, but Otto's being a butthole and is literally squishing Wally as he's trying to hold the insertion pad up that will allow the plant to go back to Earth, and everyone's falling, and then Eva saves the people, but then some of the plant is found, and the little cleaning guy, he like throws it, some of the human throws it, because they're able to do this. Because the captain walks. It's like the first moon landing, and they play that epic music because he's walking, and he takes Otto down and switches off his little switch, and then Wally's not being crushed anymore. There's a dramatic moment there because Wally's like dying, but we'll get back to that later. The plant gets in there, they hydroplane to Earth, they're all at Earth. Wally's still dying. Once they get to Earth, Eva restores him. He loses his memory, but then by holding hands and robot kissing, the little electric energy, I guess that's a robot kiss, revives him. True Love's kiss, I don't know. And they're all good. And then everyone's at Earth, and the captain's like, look, kids, this is a planet. You're going to be doing lots of farming now. And everyone's just fine, but it kind of makes me wonder, okay, aren't they all going to starve now? Because they're all, like, without food. I mean, I know there's a ship, but I had problems. But you see them fast forward, and there's, like, plants everywhere, and the Earth is thriving, and you know it's going to be A-O Gucci. The end.
All right.
I don't know how good that was. It was probably a little too much. So
it
sorry.
was worthy. It was worthy of a Final Fantasy victory fanfare.
Thank
That means anything to you.
Thank you very much.
You done good, kid.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's the plot of WALL-E.
Yep. I feel like
guess
that's
now-
mean to the fat people. It wasn't their fault they were fat, and they were adorable. And I believe that they will work out, and they will be healthy people.
They probably will.
It's my New Year's resolution.
But they were beautiful. Each and every one of them was. Love the diversity in the people, by the way. I noticed that. I was like, good job, Pixar.
Yeah.
All right, so I do want to, before we continue talking about this film, I want to read you an excerpt from my favorite review of this film. And
oh boy.
WALL-E is a creepy old man who stalks a young girl and takes her out on dates while she's unconscious. Eve is a high-strung woman who destroys everything around her and won't even explain what her job is. And it's the most adorable thing ever.
That's very true.
So, you know, last week when I said that I don't really like romance,
Yeah.
I think I was just being kind of sour.
You like WALL-E and Eva?
It's cute. I like it.
It is.
I think I was being kind of moody that night.
I mean, it's adorable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So cute.
Like WALL-E has had no contact with anything besides a cockroach for presumably hundreds of years.
That cockroach is amazing.
Yeah.
Also, that cockroach will not die. He gets trampled on like 10 times, and actually at the end when WALL-E rolls over him, I thought he died, and I went, and then he like popped back up. And
It's cockroach. Cockroaches can't die.
That's the power of the Twinkie.
Yeah.
What?
He sleeps in a Twinkie every night, so he's immortal.
What?
Twinkies have so many preservatives in them that, you know, they barely like go bad.
Nora, you remember the bit where the cockroach sleeps in a Twinkie, right?
No.
How do?
Okay, listen. Let me explain something. This is gonna sound bad. Okay.
You don't like Twinkies.
No. I mean, I don't know. I've never really eaten them that much, but when I had one, it was good. So, but anyway, I had to watch this off of a YouTube like series video. So every now and then, not normally, it would skip like 10 seconds. So that could have been in a 10-second lapse.
Oh.
I know. The inaccuracy. But it got everything except I could tell like two or three, it would skip like 10 seconds, but it would be on the same plot. So I'd be like, okay, I'm good. So yeah, that was that. I think I missed the cockroach Twinkie moment.
It's the best movie Twinkie aside from Ghostbusters.
Also, if I did miss it, it could be because I watched the first half at 2 a.m. one morning and I was very tired.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this yesterday.
So that might also be why. Because really, the YouTube version I found got all of it. But that could also be a very valid reason.
Possibly.
Because I had to rewatch a lot of it today. So I wouldn't be like totally out of it for this movie review.
I'm sorry if I'm being very quiet. I'm just very tired.
It's okay. I talk too much, so.
No, it's okay. What are we, a bunch of Canadians? We're all so polite.
We need to be more like WALL-E. Just be completely rude and loot corpses.
But WALL-E's so kind to everyone.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Nora, he looted.
Good robot
If we're
gender, I
talking
can't
about
tell.
mean, Can we talk about the mass robot slaughter that happens with chainsaws? That's so aggressive. And it is established by then that they all have emotion. So they're like people. And there's no problem with murdering robots in this film. Like, even a human splashes one and it dies and no one cares. And I was deeply disturbed.
Robots have hearts in this universe.
Yeah, I found that out. And
you probably know where this is going.
They murder them ruthlessly.
You know where I'm going with this.
No.
No Kingdom Hearts corner, come on.
Okay, all right. There's not been anything Wall-E in Kingdom Hearts, but if there was, they would totally go out of their way to explain that robots have hearts.
Oh, because it's called Kingdom of Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, sorry. I've yet to play the game.
I know. But in the Toy Story world, they go out of their way to explain how toys have hearts.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that aside, that's a big, dumb, stupid rabbit hole I don't want to go down right now. This movie has so many little moments. And I find that the little moments of life are like the ones you remember the most, you know?
Yeah.
Pardon me for talking in this kind of quiet, like, not quite ASMR voice, but...
No, I like it. It fits the aesthetic.
Okay, cool. So anyway... little moments like watching Hello Dolly and him clasping his other hand. It's so good.
That's mm-hmm.
It's also a little robot with binoculars for eyes, but it's so relatable because we've all probably been there before.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of good moments like that with Eve too.
Yeah.
Pretty early on, like once she's activated, as soon as like her ship leaves and she like watches it go, she like really loosens up and just kind of starts flying around for funsies.
Yeah.
She's cool. Should we discuss the themes and symbolism?
Yes, I noticed a lot of that because I love noticing that stuff.
Okay.
Because one thing of note,
the themes of Wall-E.
Well, one thing of symbolism.
Bad, environment good.
It's not even that. It's that, but like the thing I'm talking about. You notice how there's a big ship where there's like all life forms on it, and they're going someplace, and they get back, and the first thing they release is a white thing out into the sky.
Yes.
It's very Noah's Ark. Eve being named Eve, the first human woman, unless you believe the Lilith thing, but that's theology corner, not the Pixar corner.
And Wall-E, the first human man.
Well, shut up.
Actually, Jared, it's Eva, so I'm just kidding. Continue. This is a good theory.
Anyway, there's a lot of like biblical symbolism, but also a lot of like Greek mythological symbolism as well. In that, you know, like humanity getting too powerful.
Yes.
And, you know, so sure of themselves.
Yes.
I don't know if it's...
But also Adam and Eve as well, because, like, they had the paradise, but they also messed up, and it was their own human hubris and, you know, internal desire to do a bad thing that screwed it all up for them.
I never thought of it like that, but I like your interpretation of it.
But there's also capitalism bad and environment good, too. So.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of capitalism, government takeover more themes.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of we live in a society, phone bad. It's about 10 years early, honestly. I'm not saying it's like a boomer thing, but it's like, I honestly kind of like that. It's kind of refreshing.
I mean, Wall-E is kind of unique in its approach to like capitalism.
Yeah.
And that may just be because this movie was made by one of the biggest capitalist corporations.
Well, it's almost like biting the hand that feeds.
Kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, corporations the corporation, by and large, isn't really presented as evil so much as they are just kind of negligent.
Yeah, they're a faceless entity, but also the hubris of humanity is what brought about the problem. And humans have allowed themselves to get so wrapped up in technology. The captain answering directly to Otto, who wants to keep the humans controlled.
Yeah, because
kind of like
Otto is HAL 9000.
Because he's literally HAL 9000. I'm sorry. I don't think.
I mean, they made no bones about hiding that.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's a good example of an homage and not a rip-off.
Well, I mean, they also literally play the 2001 theme as
yeah.
Which was the perfect gag.
Absolutely. That's a reference done right.
Um.
Instead of something like Dream... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Keep going. You're on a roll.
Instead of something like DreamWorks... Sorry, Olivia. Where they would just, like, name a pop culture thing, and that's the joke.
Yeah, when Pixar references other movies, they reference frickin' 2001: A Space Odyssey and classic musicals like Hello Dolly. When DreamWorks references a movie, it's recent pop culture in order to cash in on trends.
Yep. Anyway, we're all theater people here. I thought it was neat that Wally likes musical theater. I love musical theater.
Me too.
I think
it spoke well to his personality.
Yeah. He's a dreamer.
Put on Your Sunday Clothes has been stuck in my head since I watched this movie, and it won't leave, and that is okay with me.
No, yeah, it's
it only takes a moment song.
Clothes,
so
there's
good.
a world out there.
I wish.
Wait, Joey, that's not Joey's favorite. Joey's favorite is The Music Man.
The soundtrack for this movie is great.
It's beautiful.
Because specifically of that 30-minute like montage, like beginning prologue, there is no dialogue, but the sound effects they use of Wally, or even like those light bounces that every time the cockroach jumps, like the boing boing, I like those, and it adds an effect that's deeper, especially with the music and soundtrack, because you see how they're trying to make up for dialogue in those lost moments.
Well, it's like a silent film.
It makes sense because the guy who did the sound design for this movie is Ben frickin' Burt.
Yeah, you might not know the name, but you know the sound effects.
Mm-hmm. See, my is that for some reason, I don't know why, because normally I'd be fine with like the whole silent film idea. I wanted the dialogue just because I knew what the movie was capable on the topics, but at the same time, I feel conflicted because I was so fascinated by how well they filled in the dialogue with soundtracks and movies. So I feel conflicted on it because the first part I enjoyed, but it wasn't the part that captivated me most. But it's the part that artistically pleased me the most, that if I wanted to go look back for like animation and sound development appreciation for the movie, I'd refer back to that part.
The design of the Axiom is beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm conflicted because if I'm just watching it to watch it, I want the later scenes. But if I'm really appreciating the animation and the qualities of all of it, I'd go to that.
I love the little montage of Le Vie en Rose. It's a beautiful song.
I mean, I think the first act also has some of the better storytelling.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, in just a few shots, like you see that newspaper, Too Much Trash, Earth Covered. Then you see the billboard with all the Wallies, and then you see the Wally graveyard, and you just know in 3 simple beats what happened here.
Yeah.
The first 2 minutes of that was my favorite part. It was where it started to drag a little bit with his daily routine. I kind of just wanted it to pick up, but those first moments, the newspaper on the ground or the backgrounds, Wally posters were beautiful.
Yeah, this is a very artistically intricate movie. Daniel, your review of Knives Out, you said that storytelling is a magic trick, and that Rian Johnson is a magician.
Yeah,
I feel like there's some magic tricks in this movie.
there's just full on magic here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Define dancing. Oh, it's
Yeah, so
beautiful.
Nora,
It,
months back, like before we even had conceived the idea for this podcast, Jaren and I shared our top 5 favorite Pixar moments with each other.
oh man, I don't even remember what I put.
Yeah, well, the only thing we had that was similar was Define Dancing. Like,
Really?
yeah, like we both really liked that sequence.
Dancing itself is lovely because you're moving to sound, rhythm.
That part was great. I loved that whole scene where it flashed back and he starts asking about Earth because you see the development and change of the captain, and there's also this beautiful animation happening outside, and then that lady realizes inside, she's like, look at the stars, look, it's Wally, and then she grabs his hand and there's just love everywhere and it's beautiful.
Souls finding each other.
Yeah.
And that part where the captain is so good too, because like he was never like a bad guy in the beginning, but you can tell his life lacked purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he finally finds something to like light a fire in him when he starts learning about Earth.
I really like the captain a lot.
So do I.
I really like him. Who voices him?
I know who it is.
Because I knew his voice, but I couldn't remember his name.
He has been in plenty of things.
Yeah.
I know Wally is voiced by Ben Burt, actually, which is pretty cool.
There's another voice. It was the captain and the guy that briefly sees Wally in the hallway when he knocks him out of the chair.
Okay, yeah, well, good.
John.
Yeah. The captain.
John Ratzenberger.
Yeah. John Ratzenberger voiced John, and of course he is Pixar's Lucky Charm. He voiced Ham, the Abominable Snowman, the Flea, Mac, the waiter in Ratatouille. He's in every Pixar movie. He voiced John.
Gotcha.
And the captain.
I'm thirsty and I'm filling up my cup with water. So if you hear something in the sink, that's what that is.
Okay. The captain is voiced by Jeff Garlin. He's a comedian. Was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's a funny guy, funny man.
What's his name? I'm bad with names. Good.
Jeff Garlin.
Let me look him up.
He was in Arrested Development.
He was in Arrested Development.
Because I'm really bad with names. Garlin. Oh, that guy! I love that guy.
Yeah.
You just needed to see his face.
Yeah, I love him. He's on oh, what is it? Oh, dang it! Now I have to look that up.
IMDb is your friend.
Okay, yeah, it's like a sitcom show.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
The Goldbergs.
Yep, the Goldbergs.
It was on the Goldbergs.
But,
I've seen ads for that when I watched Blackish.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. That's just my mind went to that.
He has a very good voice, very well suited for the captain. We kind of didn't mention one thing. This is the first Pixar movie to ever use live action footage.
This is true.
It is very true.
Where did they use it?
The president.
Oh, I thought you meant like animation. They put it in the animation. No, yeah, that was stupid question.
Also, I get very, very self-conscious listening this back with my voice.
Me too. I hate hearing my voice.
I've gotten used to it.
I hate it so much. I think I sound like an annoying little toddler, and I'm like, Nora, shh.
I'm just like, do I really sound like that? I'm going to just be quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway, insecurity hour over.
Controversial opinion. Okay, now when I say this, I liked some of it. I didn't really like the live action because I know why they did it, and I liked their way of kind of trying to cover it up by showing the progression of the captains. You could see how it slowly changed to the animation channel.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it sort of looks like a cheap way to not do the animation of humans, since their animation of people wasn't still fully developed yet.
I mean,
And
once again, it was stylized.
yeah,
the purpose for doing that was mostly to show like such a drastic difference between people back in
that's
our
what
time.
I figured. Like,
It's almost
I
like being
figured it was
involved.
because so you can really relate to a real earthly topic that this actually happened on Earth with the president, and then went into this situation because it is such a dire situation, and there was great symbolism behind it, and I appreciate it for that. But at the same time, it bothered me, so I felt conflicted.
Still a valid take.
A lot of my opinions for this film are very conflicted.
Well, we didn't discuss the themes further. How by and large is like my dog just barked. I think my mother got home.
By and large, the worst. But
they're not like evil, like we said, but there's like a faceless, megacorp, and it's all about the humanity behind it that causes the problem. And we see the by and large brand like indoctrination starting at the youngest age with the little baby school, where it's like, B is for by and large, your very best friend, and I'm like, oof, that's something.
yeah.
But it's all about. I wonder if Brad Bird had anything to do with this. I don't think he did, but I don't think he did at all. But I feel like you would appreciate some of the themes, as we've discussed before. He's not
senior creative team over at Pixar.
Yeah.
And like everybody over there works on everybody's films in some capacity.
Yeah.
I remember when Lee Unkrich left the studio earlier this year, he was like, I can't wait for the day when I finally get to be excited about a new Pixar film, but I know everything about the next 5.
I see. I mean, in addition to his, feats of slimery, John Lasseter has also been accused of like just stealing people's ideas.
Oh, that sucks.
Which makes me wonder, and this is getting way ahead of ourselves, if Ernesto de la Cruz was partly based on him.
I mean,
just straight up taking other people's credit.
Considering that movie was directed by Lee Unkrich, and all of the villains Lee Unkrich has made are basically John Lasseter. You can talk a little bit more about that during Toy Story 3. But...
Oh, yeah, that's 2 weeks from now. I'm very much looking forward to that.
What is the schedule that y'all have?
What?
How do y'all, like, is there like a developed Pixar schedule of
it's one film a week in chronological order. We've already mapped out, which is what episode would fall on what week.
I just thought y'all were like picking Pixar movies, and it was like, oh, by the way, we're doing this one. I was like, okay.
No, next week is up. Week after that's Toy Story 3. Week after that is Cars 2. Endgame.
I'm really slow sometimes.
And then our New Year's special is.
Y'all, I'm like a smart person.
You are.
But, like, I guess in a book sense. But when it comes to common sense, I'm lacking.
I mean, same. So, you are among friends.
I mean,
don't worry.
I don't know. I'm probably just stupid most of the time, so just bear with me, guys.
It's okay. I'm just kind of surprised is all.
Anyway, yes, it's...
I've heard you say it, but I just didn't process it. I do that a lot. Like, I know it, but I don't process it, and then I'm like, oh. Yeah. Just keep talking.
Sounds like I have a pretty similar problem. Anyway, yeah. We're getting, to up next week, and I've got stuff to say about that one.
Wait, we're getting to which one next week?
Up.
I love Up. Love that movie.
All right, well, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Kieran, do you
We gotta
not
find
love Up?
We gotta find a good day to record that because you and I, kid, are
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
As long as it's not before Wednesday because I have an exam on Wednesday.
As long as
Lab,
it's not okay.
lab
Yeah.
exam finals. Woo!
Yay.
We may be recording late at night.
Well, it could be after the Saturday show.
I mean,
By the way,
I'm fine doing late night, like after dress rehearsals, as long as it's just not before Wednesday, just because I need to study.
yes, yeah, okay, we can do Thursday. Anyway, getting a little off topic. Speaking of, our show opens this weekend. Our only 2 performances.
Oh, Jaron, we're sold out Saturday, and there's only 16 seats left for Sunday.
Ooh.
Dang.
So if you're in a random location somewhere in the Southeast and want to go see a production of Les Mis, try and find it.
Yeah, we've got Cosette and Javert here, hyping up the show.
We got so off track of Wally. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about just Pixar stuff in general for a while, so we're not that far off the track.
Yeah. Okay, this movie had a twist villain. Uh-oh.
But
that was his mistake.
Okay, listen. My issue, I was literally, before they did like the auto reveal villain, thinking, okay, these robots, obviously based off Eva and Wally, have emotion. And because it wasn't fully clear yet from some of the robots' behavior, like they just act programmed. And I was thinking, they're so much more intelligent than the humans. Why aren't they taking over? And then he took over, and I was like, okay, finally, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because sometimes I felt like they used Pixar as robots for humans when it was convenient, but then they used them as robots solely as robots when it was convenient for them for realistic purposes.
I mean,
and I was kind of like, pick one.
It's like the robots are all artificial intelligence, and like we see when Wally reboots, they just kind of are on their programming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one that demonstrates it the best is Mo, because he's like
it's maybe a good thing that you aren't a Star Wars fan.
Well, so Mo.
I mean, okay, I like the ones I've seen, but continue. Well,
wait. Which ones have you seen? You didn't tell us that.
I told you I saw, or did I not? I haven't seen like the original Star Wars. I saw the one. Well, I can't say. There's a big spoiler in that one. I saw one of the more recent ones a long time. Well, I mean, I don't remember. It came out a few years ago, and then a long time ago, I don't remember that much of it. One of the ones before Darth Vader's Darth Vader, and there's that little alien guy that like sticks his tongue out a lot. And I've seen that one. That's like the one I've seen, but that was when I was like in 4th grade. And then I saw a recent one and I was confused, and it was where a really, really famous character dies. So if you haven't watched Star Wars, I don't want to say.
Oh, all right.
Ooh, but okay. He dies.
So I guess just back on topic real quick. What I was getting at with Mo was like he's such a stickler for the rules at the beginning, and that's because like he's doing as he's programmed. All the robots on the Axiom are just programmed to do that, and they only divert from their programming once they learn how to feel. And a lot of that is just like time and new experiences changing them. Like Mo stepping off the track for the first time, Tim taking the step from being just another cog in the machine to his own robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just another brick in the wall.
And like you can kind of see that with Eve, because she does change a lot throughout the film, and Wally, when he reverts at the very end and like loses all those memories that his AI had. is what really caused him to just be robot again.
Yeah.
So I think it was well considered. I don't think it was just for convenience, though. It was convenient.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I just wish there was more of a straight layout somehow. But the problem there's no dialogue, so it's hard to establish what the robots' exact roles in society are. Because apparently, to the humans, they're nothing but servants. Because you see, like the way I'm going back to the scene, I was very shocked. Like they said, no diving in the pool. He just splashes the robot. Well, by then they have emotions, and that like kills that robot essentially.
No. This leads to the Pixar theory, where it's about a revolution of technology, where the cars are like fully advanced robots, based on. I hate the Pixar theory so much. Every time we do this, I want to like make fun of it, but it's just too stupid for me to make fun of. Its existence itself is just like so dumb.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Basically, it's a theory that.
Or well, no, you explained it to me. Like I get it. I'd never heard of it prior our podcast.
There's like this behemoth of a post on Tumblr somewhere just explaining the Pixar timeline, and it's hilarious to read. I highly recommend it if you have a
I
chance.
love how Pixar has little Easter eggs in each of their movie.
Yeah.
You know, with other characters from other films they've done. Like I think in WALL-E, you can see Rex in WALL-E's collection, but I love little Easter eggs and tie-ins like that. But maybe it doesn't have to be proof that it's all one big universe. I'm saying this as the guy who unironically likes Kingdom Hearts. Maybe not everything on the internet has to be like a thing.
Yeah.
Just leave stuff alone sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yes, I love you, but stop. Please. Please stop.
Yeah, so the robots, are they subservient? Are they in control? It's its own deal. My take is like Otto basically already ran everything before the movie began. Like he was just keeping status quo, and status quo was the robots below him following their program.
Yeah.
And the only reason he like ever became overt about his takeover was because he felt he had to for his programming.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Otto really a villain? Because if we are playing, this is where it gets trampled up for me. If we're playing by the fact that robots have emotions, I personally don't see any emotion in Otto, because he has singularly been programmed to not let the humans go back to Earth, and that was like a direct order, and he follows by that specifically and can't process the fact that there's a plant living there now and only refers to that sole order. But it's convenient
like,
to make him a villain, but really he's just fighting against what he was programmed. He's fighting for what he was programmed to do.
He's like a robotic Javert.
Yeah, and also if this was real life, Otto would be right. Those humans are not capable of fending for themselves at all. Like they would go out there and die.
Well, they still have all their robot buddies to help them.
Yeah.
But the way they treated them, are all those robot buddies gonna high five them to freedom? I mean, they do in Pixar, but like, this is my issue. They like mercilessly killed them. They're just like, shut up, robot. I'm a person drinking my food drink, and like.
Well, this is where we get into the stupid theory, because the theory posits that all, like robots, toys, highly advanced communicative rats, they're all like going to rise up against humanity.
Well, I mean, Otto basically did, but did he? He was just following orders. Is he have emotion? Does he have emotions, or is he just a robot following orders? Do we know? No, because they didn't make it clear whether they singularly have emotions or if they can only have programming, in my opinion.
Like I said, they have AI and they can learn to feel.
Ah, the confusion.
Or if this were in the video game series that will not be named, they just have hearts and they have their own free will.
The game that shall not be named.
That you've already named multiple times on this episode.
Twice.
I'm just proud of him for not bringing up Spider-Man multiverse yet.
Well, there you go. You just did.
I know, someone had to do it.
Someone had to.
It's
I'm glad I didn't. So it is your... There you are. I'm proud of you.
You're welcome.
Wait. Not bad, kid.
Oh, thanks, bro.
From the movie.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I mean, I am telling you did a good job, and I'm proud of you, and that you're the best. But you know,
well, you just say "kid" to me a lot. I told you I'm slow sometimes. Just
I know that was like a layered joke.
I love layered jokes. I'm slapping my knee. Did you hear me slap my knee?
I heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was my issue with the emotions and the robots.
Yeah, I guess I do just don't have that problem because, like I was saying,
to see past it.
The only reason I have that problem is because of the way they treat the robots is horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
It's almost like
so
humanity is a fallen species who, you know.
Like, I want to go back and count robot deaths. Like, the robots are so insignificant compared to the humans, yet they have emotions and it bothers me.
I mean, one robot died that I can think of.
No, they killed the little red squishy guy. Not squishy. Red blinky guy. They locked one out in space. They splashed one with water. There's a
That didn't kill him.
chainsaw robot. The chainsaw robot does. And then a lot of them are just pushed and, like, bombarded. And
But
also,
do robots die, though? Because they could be brought back and repaired.
I guess that's true. Also,
The
I like...
robot malfunctions killed a lot of security droids. Like, a lot of robots kill other robots.
Yeah.
I mean, Eve starts shooting at Wally when she first meets him, not unlike my second wife.
Who are these wives?
Nori, you didn't know this about Jaren? He's been married 3 times.
Really?
At least 3.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that he can remember. There was that one weekend in Vegas. Did you ever get your memory back, Jaren? Do you remember if you got married that weekend or not?
I remember Elvis was definitely there. I'm not sure if he was officiating the wedding or if I met him in, like, heaven because I came back from the dead. But, you know.
Wait, what?
Nora, we're yanking your chain.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
good.
trying to add stupid, unnecessary lore to this podcast.
Okay, good. Because on top of my slowness, I'm also very gullible.
No, I have never been married before.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I mean, I got y'all yanking my chain, but I was so scared, like, it's the 1% time that it's not. It's mainly fear that y'all aren't, like, joking with me, and then I'm like, ha, you're funny, and you're like, what are you talking about?
It's just like I'm telling you about my dead grandfather, and you're like, oh, haha, very funny, Daniel. And then nope.
They're like,
Yikes.
no, his funeral's this Thursday, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I've never been to Vegas either, nor have I died.
My best friend used to live in Vegas.
Cool.
I've been to Vegas.
Wait, I know someone who lived in Vegas.
Emily Perpetua, my best friend.
Wait. Emily lived in Vegas?
Emily Perpetua.
Hi, Emily. I don't know if you're listening to this, but you're a good friend, and thank you for opening Pandora's box. I'm so tired.
Cut it out. I'll cut it out. I will cut it out.
You did the dirty no.
I know I've let you down. I've been a fool to myself. I thought that I could. No. It all comes tumbling down.
Did anybody hear my DreamWorks reference?
I did not. What?
Disgusting.
Wait. What's that from?
Shrek.
Okay.
disgusting.
Sorry about my little impromptu musical number. I just felt so much shame.
So much shame you sang the song from Ava.
End of Jaron Grafley. You can't reveal the town you live in.
It's okay. I like to play this game in real life by myself where anyone says any word that pops into a song that I know, which is like every other 5 minutes I
Wait,
sing.
you do this all the time, yeah.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Like
On the lead up to your birthday, you kept...
Yeah. Like, Jaron was standing across the room. He said something, hoping I would hear it, and I successfully sang the song he wanted to.
Wait, what was that? That was
I
yesterday.
don't remember. I just know it was last night, and it was very late, and we were all very tired.
Yeah, I said something specifically because I knew you were walking over, and I timed it for you to...
There that wasn't there before.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. That.
You know who also breaks into song from time to time? Wally.
Oh my gosh.
Every now and again, he just hums his songs.
Every now and then I fall.
Or he plays them.
Now you've got me going.
All right, so I think there's a few other things I want to talk about before we wrap up the podcast for the night.
I just sang Calm Sus for Todd. I think it's proof that I'm very tired. If we get 10... Hey, gamers, smash that like button at least 10 times, and I'll do a full cover of Calm Sus or Todd from the end of Evangelion.
You still haven't seen Ava, have you?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking to him.
It just makes
I know all the references and the memes and stuff like we discussed last week when we were giving our good friend Nora the crash course on mechas.
All right, well, so the couple of things I wanted to talk about before we close the podcast out. Eve seeing the security footage.
That's the best part in the whole film. Oh my gosh.
That was truly wonderful.
I've been meaning to say that. That's the best part.
Yeah. I think that was the moment that she fell in love with Wally, because...
Wally.
I mean, she finally realized what a sweetheart he is, and it's so precious.
I know. I think I want to love someday like that, like robots.
All love romance again.
So sweet.
If I could begin to be... Oh, sorry.
Half of what you think of me, I could do about anything. I could even learn how to love like you. Sorry, don't even start Steven Universe. I love that show so much.
Remember we were going to do a Steven Universe podcast?
I could really talk 3 hours on a single episode, but that would be bad.
Didn't Steven Universe Future finally premiere? You can do that.
Wait, what?
It already premiered?
I saw people on Twitter talking about
it.
What
do you mean? Oh my gosh, I have to turn my TV. You think I'm joking? I'm going to look at if episodes are up on Hulu Live.
By the way, Daniel, I don't think you know this, but Nora and I discussed one of these days. She plays the piano, so I asked her to learn It's Over, Isn't It? So we're going to perform that one day.
I need to get cheap.
Nice.
That for you.
Okay, before we get down the Steven Universe rabbit hole and just talk about other animated stuff we love, the other moment. How do you guys feel about the whole Wally amnesia thing that comes in at the end?
I didn't like it.
I mean, it did just kind of come out of nowhere.
I was not a fan at all. At all.
This kind of runs into something we talked about during Finding Nemo. This is something Andrew Stanton has done twice now, where at the very, very end, he'll make you think, oh, this character is gone for good. Nope.
No.
But they're not, and you know they're
Chuck
not.
Testa.
And I'm just get to the end by that point. Because Wally's already almost died 4 times, and you know he's not going to die. And I'm just like, stop. And also, it doesn't make sense because if they have true emotions with the thing, he should already be able to memorize it. It shouldn't have to come off like the hard drive, even though I know that's how robots are. It just bothered me. And I was just so done with that whole thing by that point because some of the movie was very repetitive for me. And I was like, okay, it's a plant. And also, if they wanted to go to Earth, they could go to freaking Earth without the plant. That made no sense. But just kiss, just robot kiss already.
I don't really think this movie was all that repetitive.
I found it very repetitive with the whole chase, grab this, grab that, get Eva, get the plant, we lost the plant, get the plant again, fight the robot, the end. I mean, it was great, but parts of it, I think I wanted more, to be honest. I wanted more with the whole how the Earth got that way because it's such a massive issue and the plot is so tiny. The plot is we need to get the plant back to the ship so we can get back to the Earth. And I feel like there should be more reasoning. Like the people on the ship, I want them to realize what's happening and realize what's happened to their people more. And I know you can't really do that because it's a kid's movie. I just wanted more from it. That was my main issue. It was such a broad topic that needed more detail in a way. But the details they used, like with the whole 30-minute thing towards Wally's character development, were great. But some of that could have been used to thicken the rest of the plot.
I mean,
I know it's controversial. It's just
I kind of agree with it. I kind of don't. It's just a case of like I don't really need to know how Earth got that way. I think the film was pretty clearly saying if we continue on our current path, this is what's waiting for us.
Yeah, it was more that I wanted the people on the ship to band together to understand what was going on. I just didn't want the whole plot to be we need to get the plant here. I wanted them to understand why it had to change, like why Earth couldn't continue like this anymore, why it was wrong. Because the only person that really understood that was the captain and maybe those two humans, and that was about it. That's what I wanted more of.
Yeah, they do kind of use the captain as a proxy for all of humanity in this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. The masses are stupid, but
yeah,
it kind of could have used that, but at the same time, the core story was always Wally and Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want too much diversion from them because their story doesn't repeat all that much. Like, they lose the plant only twice, and the second time they don't even really lose it. It's just in the dump with them.
I guess it's more, I already know they're going to get the plant back. I'd rather not use the dramatic scenes leading up to it as much to do it as more when I could have more character development. Because I really like those. What I would have loved is if Wally and Eve could have communicated to the humans somehow using those like soundtrack or like emotion cues that they've used in some of the beginning scenes to the humans, why the Earth needs to change to factor them in. That would have been beautiful. But that's just me. I don't like it when there's a predictable outcome and you're kind of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the journey there
I'm sorry.
fun, so I'm not really complaining. Like, what Pixar film doesn't have a predictable ending outside of Cars?
Right. Ratatouille I didn't expect because the restaurant like shuts down.
But they start a new restaurant.
But at the same time, like,
and Ego changes, or I said his name wrong. No, Ego.
Yeah. Ego.
It was kind of a foregone conclusion that Ego would like Remy's cooking. It's just the little details were the restaurant closing down and stuff.
You're right. I guess.
Yeah.
This is why I agree and disagree with my own opinions because I go back and forth because I liked the movie. I think maybe it's more I need a topic that captures me. But the thing is, like, the whole futuristic, like, world ending very much captures me. I just want it to be done in a bigger, in-your-face more way, I guess. But I don't know how you can be more in-your-face because it is, I don't know. I'm
movie's
very confused.
enough.
I know, I sound ridiculous.
This movie,
They
Missing.
lived in a society.
Yeah. There's something missing from Wall-E, and I think it's the character development of the people on the ship that I'm missing. But at the same time, the character development between Wall-E, Eve, and the captain are my favorite parts of the movie. That was so good.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
yeah,
I wanted more of that. That's what I wanted.
and that because a lot of people do say this movie does get weaker when they go to space, and that probably would have helped a lot if they had done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can also understand why they don't, because
it's a kid's movie.
It's so gosh darn expensive, so you want to kind of keep it at 90 minutes as much as possible.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I like when they go to space because that's where you really do start the character development, and you see it's the possibility of what could happen with the humans. And those little moments, those two humans that start to change really did something for me. Because that's where it comes from. I really like seeing the changes in them and how even like one effect from Wall-E changed their perspective. Like that's what I wanted more of. Where Wall-E, like even the little things he did of human companionship, even though he's a robot, and realizing the real world, because Wall-E represents the old historic views of earthly good because he's experienced that, which is another character thing that I like about Wall-E, because Eve is the contrast to that of the modern world society that's strong and powerful and can destroy things, and I'm talking fast, changes them, is great.
Very well done.
Yeah, I think you did kind of cover it.
I'm having a proud father moment.
Thanks. Also, Steven Universe Future aired yesterday, but it's not on Hulu Live, and it scares me that it's not on there yet.
All three of us need to watch at some point, and then just contact each other.
I mean, I'm gonna wait until all the episodes are out.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, I think that correctly summed up how I feel about Wall-E. I like it. I just want more.
Okay.
Well, let's not ask Andrew Stam to do a sequel.
I'd really rather him not.
Yeah, no, I'm sick of sequels. Please no. If I see another sequel, I'm going to have to rage.
Yeah, stick to originals, Andrew Stam, please. You're really, really good at it. You're not.
I didn't like Finding Dory.
You're not so great at sequels or adaptations.
I didn't mind Finding Dory.
And you might be singing a different tune in a few. I don't know how long it'll be, but
I mean, like, it was good. I mean, I liked Finding Nemo better.
Yeah.
Ooh, have y'all seen the commercial for Soul? Pixar
yes.
Soul.
I am looking
That
forward
very
to that.
interesting.
I didn't watch the teaser.
Oh yeah, I texted you, Daniel. I was like, "Oh, this looks really good." And
It's sort of like a spin-off of Inside Out a little bit.
It does give me Inside Out vibes.
I mean, same writer and director.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that same element, but it's, when you die.
Yeah.
Coco
did that as well.
I'm just kind of. I want to watch trailers because I know.
What'd you say? Sorry, my phone went weird.
I just don't want to watch trailers for things I know I'm going to see because.
Yeah.
They reveal too much in trailers.
Well, even just trailers are marketing. Like, they're there to convince you to watch a thing. But I don't know what movies I'm going to watch years in advance. Like, we mentioned Knives Out earlier. I knew I was going to watch that in January of 2018 when it was announced. Like,
yeah. I think I remember you and I discussing that back then.
Yeah, like I didn't watch any trailers or teasers for Knives Out, and I
haven't seen it either. I've not seen the movie yet. I really want to, but I've just been busy, man.
Really? Sometimes I really like the trailers, teasers, because then you get something to look forward to, and you see something you really like, and then you get so excited, and you think about what's in the future.
I mean,
I'm going to say something controversial. I don't like being excited.
No.
Most excitement ends in disappointment. I like being pleasantly surprised.
But then, if it disappoints you, you can think there's only something better to excite you, Jaren.
For me, like, I don't need trailers to get excited. Like, I look at the people who are making these things and I go, oh, they've done great work in the past. I don't care what they're making. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's...
I'm sorry. I'm still processing what you just said. You might have changed my mind.
I know. Because if something's disappointing, that only means that the next thing can be more exciting. Unless it's more disappointing, then you're just bound to have a great time at some point.
Well,
I can't wait to discuss Brave because on the topic of disappointment.
Brave is another one of my favorites.
Oh, we're going to have fun with that.
Oh, wait, no, I guess if we're doing a top 5. But I've made a top 5 of Pixar. But they kind of change based on what we've watched. Like, my number 1 and 2 go back and forth.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting WALL-E to be in the top 4, even at this point when there's only 9 films to compare. Like, I was pretty sure Toy Story 2 was going to edge it out, and then I was like, no, giving the edge to WALL-E.
Yeah. All right. My top 3 so far at this point, based on stuff we've only done so far: Ratatouille, The Incredibles, Toy Story 2.
My top 3 so far: number 3, Finding Nemo; number 2, Ratatouille; number 1, no surprise, The Incredibles.
Yep.
My top 3, but my third one we haven't done yet. And also,
this is based on the ones we've done.
I know, but okay, well, what have I been in? I've been in Cars.
You've been here since Incredibles.
Incredibles, Ratatouille. Well, that's not fair.
You can look back at all of the first 9. You can get the Toy Stories, the first 2 Toy Stories, and A Bug's Life.
Bug's Life.
Oh gosh, A Bug's Life.
I kind of wish we had you on that one now.
Ugh.
Just based on the tone of your voice.
That's another one I haven't seen in a long time, like WALL-E, and I think I'd probably like it more watching it again because I tend to like them all more watching them again, but at the same time, it's probably one of my least favorites. Okay, well, my top 2, because I don't really like... I mean, Cars and this movie are good, and I'd watch them because I like them. They're just not my top. My top 2 are Ratatouille and Incredibles. Ratatouille is my number 1, and Incredibles is my number 2. But Incredibles has been my number 1 till about, like, a week ago when we watched Ratatouille. So I think that was just because I had watched it more recently. So, I don't know. They're really about the same.
Man, we're a bunch of Brad Bird fans.
Yeah, I really think they're both my number 1.
I mean, I'm also a fan of Andrew Stanton. Like,
oh, I am as well.
When he makes the movie again, and I see his name attached, because he's
Daniel, I'm losing you.
Yeah, I got a little muffled, fossil.
Maybe my Wi-Fi isn't perfect. I'm in my new apartment, by the way.
Congratulations!
Yay! I applaud you.
Yay!
Big moves.
But I was just saying, I like Andrew Stanton's stuff a lot.
So do I.
And he's made 2 of my favorite movies of all time, between Finding Nemo and WALL-E. So, when
Brad Bird made.
Well, Brad Bird made my number 3 film of all time.
And he made the PRE. PRE.
Very true.
I'm really excited to do Up next week.
Oh, yeah. Up is where Brad Bird is going to start getting nudged out, I feel, because Pete Docter blows up with his next 2 films. And it's great.
I love Up. See, my rankings may change again because... Okay, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to say it. It's my number 3. I had to. It's my number 3.
Yeah. I'm really excited for the next 2 Pete Docter films.
I love Up.
It's good.
All right, so
I'm. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, do we want to have any final closing stuff on Wall-E?
It's good. It's really good.
It made me like it more than I thought I did, and that makes me happy, even though I knew I'd like it more than I originally did.
Ratatouille still has my favorite montage in all of Pixar with the training, but yeah, but all of the montages in Wall-E, really competing for those top slots. There's so many montages.
The montage where Wally's looking through the human stuff and he finds like the bra and it's so funny.
And he puts it over his eyes. Wow.
And he goes, "Oh." It's so funny.
Yeah. Wall-E, probably the cutest character Pixar ever made.
Yeah.
Adorable.
He is baby.
Wall-E is better than Baby Yoda.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting real tired of Baby Yoda. Real tired.
Yoda?
I got tired of Baby Yoda like 2 weeks ago.
Nora, you're not a Star Wars person. It's okay that you don't know this, but Baby Yoda is tired. Wall-E is wired.
Yeah.
Boom.
I mean, Yoda himself is adorable, but I didn't know there was baby him.
Yeah, you know what, Nora? Google Baby Yoda. You'll be in for some diabetes.
Oh. Also, did you notice that all the people on the people in Wall-E are all the same age, probably because they don't live past that age? Just saying. Also, what do they do with their bodies? Do they just throw them out in space?
They probably cremate him.
No, I bet they throw them out in space and they're just floating there. Little Pillsbury Doughboy.
I mean, this movie deals with a post-apocalyptic Earth, and I think that's too dark for this movie.
Baby Yoda.
Enjoy Baby Yoda.
Whoa. Well, first of all, I got an actual baby in a Yoda costume, and that was adorable.
Aw.
But this looks like a gremlin. Wait, what's happening? Why is this a thing? Ew! He looks like
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing real-time reactions to Baby Yoda from Fresh Eyes.
No one will remember Baby Yoda in a year.
He looks like the live-action version of the Grinch as a child, but they
It
shrunk
does.
him and they put large ears on him.
I don't like that movie.
You don't like that movie?
I really don't like that movie.
What?
It's gross.
I love that movie.
How to tell the difference between a millennial and a Gen Z?
Oh, no. She
He
claims
wasn't
up and
Gen Z.
she
He's
was
one of us.
enthusiastic the other day about
Don't
my
be
Gen Z
fooled.
status.
Don't be fooled by Jared. He is one of us.
No. This is how you tell. If they hate the Grinch movie, they're millennial, and if they love it, they're Gen Z.
No.
Because it all depends on what age you were when you first watched it. Okay. For real, though, Wall-E is great. I love the gag about the outlet on the moon.
Yeah.
Anyone else have final thoughts?
The yin-yang personalities between Eva and Wall-E were great.
Yep.
Wonderful.
It's cute. It's good.
Okay, so join us next week for Up. We've been To Infinity and Beyond. And bye-bye.
Bye.
Nora, say bye.
Oh, bye. Have a nice, lovely week. Sorry.